I'd like to call to order the meeting of Monday, June 10th, and if you'd like to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The clerk will please take the roll.
Councilmember Archibald. Here. Councilmember Ashford.
Present.
Councilmember Hamza.
Here.
Councilmember Lamb.
Here.
Councilmember Mosrak.
Here.
Councilmember Pemberton. Mayor Rapp.
Here. You have the minutes from the regular meeting of May 23rd. Is there a motion to receive and file?
So moved.
Support.
Councilmember Mosrak, supported by Councilmember Lamb. Is there any changes to the minutes? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes stand as submitted. On the agenda, it does say there's a presentation tonight by Chief Flatzer, but it's not going to be done tonight, so it is off the agenda. So we'll move right on to public comment. If there's anybody in the audience who wishes to address the council this evening, please come forward, give us your name and where you live, and you have 4 minutes.
My name is David K. Hoffman from Fort Gratiot. I am also a candidate for the County Commissioner's seat of 2nd District. And I wanted to come and introduce myself tonight because the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd northern voting precincts would be in my district. And so I just wanted to just introduce myself very quickly. I am a retired engineering technologist, retired pastor. I've been endorsed by the Right to Life. I am also a Vietnam veteran. And one of the reasons why I decided to run was because I served my country in a time of war, and I wanted to serve my country again. And so by participating in local government, I wanted to be the voice of the people. And I thought it was critical at this juncture in time in history to be able to have a voice through the people, through me. So I wanted to just come tonight to introduce myself, because chances are probably good if I get elected, which I'm hoping I do, I would be working directly with you. So on that, I will say thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to address the City Council this evening?
Brian Farquhar, 19th Avenue, City of Port Huron. I missed last meeting, so this is probably going to go over what some of you guys went over last meeting, but I want to thank everybody that showed up to the river cleanup. I know Mrs. Lamb was there, Mr. Hermaza was there, I saw Nancy there. I heard a few others were out and about. I didn't see with my own eyes, but thank you very much. I think it went off as a great project. The 3 workers that were at the Riverside boat launch there from DPW or Forestry, great representation of the city. They were extremely friendly with everybody that spoke with them. They were busy, but also letting people stand around and watch and made sure to keep people back and safe. The only quip or anything I heard from them is, I wish we had a little bigger equipment out here and knew what we were getting into. But now that we know, next year we can properly prepare them and possibly give them some more help. Just to kind of continue on with that, I know I wasn't there, but Mr. Freed, I know you had said at Casey's that there was some possibility of running some pumps to get some water into Black River to clean out some of the stagnantness in the Black River. I encourage any of you to go down and just take a peek at the city docks and the rest of it. Black River is already stagnant. That should have been yesterday, last week. You know, the rain helped out a little bit, but as soon as we can get that approved, as soon as we can get those in, that's definitely going to be something that needs to happen to try to bypass that. Other than that, Parks and Rec's doing great as usual, and we'll just keep on with city business. Thanks.
Thank you.
Julian Ruck, 750 15th Street. 1,225 days. That was the first stage of Polly's Place, said and done. If you go down Lapeer, you'll see it's been leveled and cleared. That happened this morning. I was out working till 3 a.m. on the site last night, and then I got up at 6, just preparing the space as well as I could for the crews to come in, and they did a great job. It was friendly. I got a lot of drone footage. I tried to focus on that to really capture the moment. And, you know, when I'm sharing the photos online, there's a lot of sadness. A lot of people have emotional attachment. But meanwhile, I'm the one kind of leading the way with gladness. You know, there's no beef in any regard up here. I recently had dinner with the mayor and her husband, and we talked about things where I feel that up until now, Councilmember Huron was far more informed than the rest of the council on what I'm doing, why, how, where we're going. Now Mayor Rep, she's right up there, she understands. They got some inside information. So when I say that it took 1,225 days from Groundhog Day in 2021 when I purchased the property to now, to get to the next space, located between an industrial area and public housing, where Mr. Freed encouraged me to look at a little corner we could kind of create our home there, on property that has generations of gardeners prior to, so I'm told by the neighborhood. Never had a house on it, only gardening soil. So we've added Polly's Place to that. 1,225 days in the first space. And Polly's Place, where it is now, it will be designed, is being designed to last 1,225 years. What? How could you possibly? You couldn't. Well, for 10,000 years before people like me came to this continent, indigenous peoples had food forests that they traveled and planted and maintained and ate from all over the Americas. So we too can have fruit trees, asparagus, rhubarb, garlic, trellising, permaculture, tree guilds, etc. And we can make it fun. Part of the perimeter path, I want to add mastodon footprints in, all to scale and size. So when the kids in the neighborhood and everybody comes and walks through the garden, they can get a sense of history and connection to thousands of years in the past, so that 1,200 years from now doesn't seem too daunting. 1,225 months would be about 100 years. When it comes to permaculture, if you can make something last 100 years, you just need to keep making it last 100 years. So there's a lot of learning, a lot of excitement in front of us. We have a trademarking process in place. I don't want to sell a single shirt until the brand on the shirt is trademarked. But we're doing everything right, and we're off to a great start. And I'm looking forward to the second and perhaps final age of Polly's Place.
Thank you, Julian. Is there anyone else who wishes to address the city council this evening?
Good afternoon. My name is Carrie Angie. I wanted to introduce myself because I'm running for the seat being vacated by Georgia Baldwin, District 2 of the County Commission. I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a small business owner, and I'm an attorney in this community. Over my 20-plus year legal career, I have fought to give a voice to the voiceless. I have fought for victims in court as a career spent as a career prosecutor in courts in this county and throughout the state. I have traveled to prisons throughout the state and opposed murderers and perverts face to face who are trying to get out of prison. I am not afraid to stand up to powerful people like the parole board and the governor when it's warranted. I'm also not afraid to try to give a voice to the voiceless. I have served this community in many forms of volunteerism in my 16 years of living here. I volunteered for years at Sparrow. I currently represent them as their legal counsel. I'm currently on the board at another pregnancy center as well, the Compassion Pregnancy Center, where I have served for a number of years. I was on the board at St. Clair County Right to Life. I still work with St. Clair County Right to Life. I'm proud to say that Joe Pavlo, as a matter of fact, made me a name tag that said Carrie Angie, Ambassador for Life, that I proudly wear to all St. Clair County Right to Life and State Right to Life events. I have served various pregnancy centers and Right to Life organizations throughout this area and the state for well over 10 years now. I am anxious to serve the residents of this community. I believe that taxpayer dollars should be safeguarded and respected. My father-in-law used to say you have to earn 3 to keep 1.5, and never is that truer than in these times. That's why taxpayer dollars, especially now, should be safeguarded and protected and treated with the utmost respect. So I'm anxious to serve this community, and I hope I get elected. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to address the city council this evening? Please come forward, give us your name, and you have 4 minutes.
Good evening. Eileen Tash, Algonac. I sent you all an email yesterday requesting some time on the agenda this evening for a presentation regarding an incident that happened on May 29th. And I did receive a response from you, Mayor Rep, that if I was concerned and felt threatened, that I should file a police report, which I'll get into. But on May 29th was the Blue Water Boaters Roundtable at Casey's in McMorran Center. I attended it with Cliff Schrader. We got there about 6:30. There were a few people milling about. I walked in, asked the bartender or manager, is this where the event's gonna be? Yes. And sit anywhere and film anything. And I said, okay, thank you. When Mr. Freed arrived at about 6:45, he came right up to me at my table and said, this is a private event, there will be no filming, and you need to leave. I said, James, it doesn't say private event, you've been advertising it everywhere. And I said, and the manager said that I could film. So he left, and then he came back about 5 minutes later, much more aggressive, threatened me that if I didn't leave, he would call the police and have me arrested and removed. So then he continued in my face, inches from my face, and he never blinked. I don't know what was going on, but that is no way for a professional and city manager to act. And it was only after Cliff Schrader said to him, back off, James, did he leave. And he went in the back, and I don't know, we saw him making some phone calls, and I said to a few people that were there, listen, if the police come and they arrest me, please take a video, okay? And then James got up and just started doing his presentation like nothing happened. And he even said, at one point he said something about, I'm a little off tonight. Okay, so I'll go ahead and take your advice, Mayor Rep, and I'll file a police report. But, you know, unfortunately, I'm gonna be filing a police report with that same police department that has been involved with striking, hitting, punching a man in the face, another police officer involved in you know, a murder. It's, okay, I don't have a lot of faith, but as you recommended, I'll file the police report. So my concern is obviously that I feel threatened, and if any one of you had a wife, a sister, a mother that was treated like that by a city manager, I don't think you would be sitting there and doing nothing. And I thought Cliff was very calm, and Mr. Freed made sure nobody else heard it except obviously Cliff, and there was another gentleman sitting at the table that happens to be a volunteer for the Port Huron Police Department, and he was a little freaked out. But the bottom line is that I can't tell you what to do, and you're not going to do it anyway, but either a drug test, he needs some help. He can't be bullying people, he can't be threatening people, and I was just doing my job, just covering a very important subject that people wanted to know about. People came up to me and asked me how they could get a copy of the video. And when I did the interview with Cliff Schrader, a number of people saw it already, the next day, and called me, contacted me, and said, if I were there, I would have decked him or grabbed him by the collar for threatening and bullying and to arrest me. So I think that obviously very disappointed with Mr. Freed, and whatever your problem was, you said even in your speech.
Eileen, your time is up.
I'm a little
Thank you.
off tonight. Yes,
Thank
you
you.
are. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who wishes to address the city council? Please come forward.
Hello, everyone. My name's Linda Lorero. I'm a Port Huron City citizen, and I live at 1030 12th Street. My message is pretty simple. It regards election law. I have here in front of me the Michigan election law and the secrecy sleeve, section 736B. It's how you vote. It says here to mark your ballot using only a black or blue ink pen. We presently have Sharpies going on for quite some time now. And I want to mention that there were some other citizens from St. Clair, city of St. Clair, near us, that had the same issue. They went to their city clerk, and she abided, because she listens to we the people, and you are our representatives. And so there's no problem there. But with Cindy Johnslick, she did not abide it. She was belligerent. She argued with me and said she didn't agree with it. I took an oath to protect the Michigan Constitution and the federal one too. This is following the law, and she will be held accountable at some place when it gets down to the local level. Not only that, but I was given a letter through the mail sent to me. Both times that I've spoke out, once on media with Eileen Tesh about some fraud that I have seen at the election regarding the Sharpies, because they jar the machine and it has it fill out another spot. The Dominion machines are renowned for being rigged, okay? We all know that. And so I'm not being asked now to come to be an election inspector when I did the right thing. The right thing was I pointed out fraud, okay? So this is the second time this has happened, and that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to address the council this evening? Please come forward.
Good evening, everybody. Curtis Carl, Poirier Township. What Eileen said, I didn't hear the words that her and James exchanged at the meeting, but yeah, he was right on her like flies on shit when he got there. Disappointing at best. All righty. 7 months ago, on the 10th of November, we were having a candlelight vigil for Josh, downtown Port Huron, while the city police officer was off on leave. She was out maybe having a few beers. There was a trooper that was dispatched to a vehicle in a ditch at Wadham Smith's Creek in St. Clair County. 2 callers reported the incident to dispatch, stating no one was observed on scene. When the trooper arrived, the vehicle had been pulled out of the ditch and was unoccupied, with several people standing outside. Minor damage was observed on the passenger side of the vehicle. The trooper made contact with Jody Kean, who advised that she'd been driving the vehicle and swerved to avoid a deer, causing her to go into a ditch. The The subject on the scene advised the trooper he was a friend of the driver. Reported driver's husband, Richard, identified this person as an off-duty officer, Mr. Scheffler, from the Marysville Police Department, a good friend of theirs. And the trooper did not believe that Jody was the driver, and it believed that it was the register owner, Chelsea. Jody repeatedly advised she was the driver and not her daughter. Traffic crash report was completed, and Jody was cited for a VBSL and was later dismissed. A subsequent investigation into the incident was conducted by a sergeant, whatever their name is. That was Michigan State Police 3rd District Special Investigations Section. During her investigation, she interviewed the registered owner, Chelsea. Again, was off on administrative leave. Chelsea admitted to driving the vehicle on the night of the incident. She stated she was in the process of completing the U-turn on Wadhams Road to go north, and in the process slid off the roadway into the ditch. I do recall that night, I don't think it was snowing, it wasn't blizzarding, so I'm not sure why we went into the ditch. She admitted to drinking alcohol, a couple of beers. Chelsea was picked up by an unnamed driver, driven home. She then called her parents to help remove the vehicle from the ditch. Chelsea was unaware that her mother was going to say she was driving the vehicle. Yeah, I'd say that too. Anyways, the inspection of the vehicle observed small scratch down the rear passenger fender. Chelsea confirmed the scratch was caused when she went into the ditch. They advised additional damage occurred at another date. When she struck a mailbox, not sure if she was drinking that night. She advised she received a call from her husband, this is Jody, the mom, to meet Chelsea's house that evening. Drove dad to the scene or whatever, then he moved the car from the ditch. And Jody admitted to lying to him and that she was, not the driver. Her doing this was not planned and discussed with anybody else. When are you guys going to come out and tell us about things like this? Transparency. Should we trust that we don't have, is there a get out of jail free card? Should I change careers? Should I become a officer so I can get the same treatment? Because this is not good. It doesn't look good at all. My time is up.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to address the council this evening?
Mark Sanderson, Fort Gratiot. I'm just following up with what Curtis had to say about Officer Cohen there. As far as lying to the police, Michigan State Police, when she put her car in a ditch. I don't know why an officer would leave the scene of an accident, ditching a car, and clearly it was a dry day. Just want to follow up there with, how can you believe anything she has to say about what happened to Josh O'Connor on November 4th? Because her body camera, it wasn't working that night. So now we're gonna go off of her words, her being the first police officer on the scene. She's admitted liar. We have proof of it now. I mean, she put her car in the ditch. I know why she left the scene. And you guys know why she left the scene. Why else would you leave the scene? Because you've been drinking. But anyways, I just want to follow up to this. She's an admitted liar. So now you guys are really going to be in a jam. You have an officer, her body cam doesn't work. Now we're going to go off of what she has to say, what happened. Like saying that Josh was resisting, we'll just start with that first. Which we know he wasn't, but I don't know how you resist when there's, 4 people on top of you. But anyways, I just, it doesn't look good, I'm just trying to get to the bottom of this stuff, and it's been a battle for over 7 months. And it's one thing after another. It's one lie after another. I mean, when does the lie stop? And let's just get out with it. Let's just be honest, and that way me and my family can at least move on from this chamber. So I'm getting tired of coming here. And I'm gonna continue to come here until I have answers about the murder of my nephew. That's all I gotta say.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to address the council this evening?
Holden Goff here, 11th Ave. On May 13th, I know I accidentally asked about refuse collection, not knowing it would be addressed 2 days after at the 15th special meeting. I can't attend every meeting, and perhaps I would have been able to attend the 15th meeting if I knew my question would have been addressed 2 days later. Something like, we'll address this on the 15th, feel free to attend, or please attend, could have prevented some further confusion with me. So I'm sorry that at the next meeting, I asked again, and it's probably why I was met with a sort of dismissive attitude, as if I should have known my concerns were addressed in my absence on the 15th, that I didn't know that we were going to be talking about trash collection that day. And Mayor Epp, you did mention that the information was in the news, but I do just want to add that that was subscriber only and behind a paywall. So given the special meetings aren't recorded, I still lack the information I was seeking on those 2 days, but that's okay for now. A contractor had recently approached me about an issue with a sidewalk close to here, the east side of Glenwood behind the 201 Beer Street condos. This individual that talked with me, he was decently certain that the sidewalk was damaged during construction over there. And then if you look at the damaged slab, it does seem possible that heavy equipment was driven from the street over the edge of the sidewalk and it cracked. Probably they did not use a proper ramp there. And I was just kind of wondering if this was known about, and is the contractor able to be held responsible for that at all? Given the rest of the sidewalk looks pretty good, it kind of seemed clear that somebody damaged it rather than erosion, so I was just kind of following up on that. And then as James has said at the last meeting, the water rate studies are readily available on the Open Government tab of the city's website. The rate study there is 8 pages. It's a front to back representation of those 8 pages. Where certain other rate studies I look at, about 249, 250 page rate study. And so I'm just trying to say that the knowledge I'm looking for isn't exactly in there. And I've reviewed it, James, and that's why I'm talking to you again, and asking you again. And though you seem to take it as I'm disregarding you or not really listening, I'd say that in a 3-month span since I had met with you, it's only reasonable that I would think about what you had said and come back to you trying to address further my concerns. And I'm just building on top of the conversation, trying to create some dialogue with you. Within this document, I'm able to see exactly what outside municipalities pay in fixed monthly fees and commodity charges. And that information just is not readily available in the slim 8 pages I get here. As far as I can tell, it's not in here. It's pretty simple stuff that you can find in a comparable rate study, like an outline for the return on equity. In this case, Grand Rapids was seeking to achieve through fixed charges. It's in pretty stark contrast to the Port Huron study, which lumps all revenues together simply as a sale of water service. It's not very comprehensive, and there's no breakdown of where those revenues come from or what expenses they are covering, and that's kind of what I'm looking to see. There is a lack of detail regarding our expected revenues and expenses within our rate study, and the closest thing we get to that is in the annual report, I will admit, where there is some pretty good examples of the revenues from wholesale principal customers in there. I just want to be clear with you, James, that I'm really not trying to disregard you, and I'm certainly not sitting here saying, hey, I'm smarter than you, as you had said at the last meeting.
Holden, your time is up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who wishes to address the council this evening? Please come forward.
Sandy Schultz, Bridgeville. I was originally going to come up here and address or to talk to Ms. Mayor Rep regarding what I came up for a couple weeks ago, the Joshua Law. And Sherry Archibald mentioned it. And last council meeting, it wasn't brought up. And I'm not going to stop at the city of Port Huron. I do have an appointment with Lansing, and I'm working with Lisa McLean. And I also am a mother, and I have a voice. And I guess I would like to know where we're at with that with the city of Port Huron. And before I sit down, I also want to address one other thing. Well, actually, two things. I and my family appreciate all the support in this nightmare that we're going through, but I am tired of the witch hunt that's going on and using my son's situation in the situation with James Freed or Eileen Pesh. Do not mention my son again. I know I have to I apologize for doing it up here. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous to use what we're going through and to bring out all the other things that are going on in the city of Port Huron. Then the other thing I wanted to mention is it does start here. So in the past, you've wondered why my family and I are coming. It starts here with the city council because it happened in your city. And I just wanted to make you aware of the liquor control. The Roach Bar is reporting sales in 2024. It's $114 and some change, $54 and some change, and maybe $200 and some dollars and some change. Because if they don't report sales, they have to turn in their liquor license. We all know the Roach Bar has not been open to the public. Unless they're having private parties, I don't know how they're selling liquor or whatever they're selling. So I wanted to bring the city council up to speed on that, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience who wishes to address the council this evening? Please come forward. Seeing no one, I will declare public comment closed. And we will move on to the consent agenda. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Mayor Pro Tem Archibald, supported by Councilmember Pemberton, and we will take the vote.
Councilmember Archibald,
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford,
Yes.
Councilmember Haremza,
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb,
Yes.
Councilmember Mojrak,
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton,
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes, items that were on the consent agenda, received and filed notification that Tyler O'Brien Moldovan has been reappointed by the city manager to the Port Huron Housing Commission with a term to expire on June 30th, 2029. Approved the 2024 request for local millage distribution from the St. Clair County Parks and Rec Commission. Authorized the levy of the operating tax rate for the Blue Water Area Transportation Commission as authorized by voters on May 7th for the fiscal year beginning July 1. Scheduling public hearings on June 24th for all persons interested in the maintenance cost of the Huron Avenue Streetscape project from the north side of Black River to the south side of McMorran, as well as the Military Street Streetscape project from the south side of Black River to the north side of Court Street. Also approving the reappointment of John Anter, Master Electrician, Robert Nelson, Licensed General Contractor, and Jason Tolan, Master Mechanical Contractor to the Construction Board of Appeals for terms to expire June 30th, 2027. Rescinding the single lot assessment amount for a previously declared single lot assessment at 1214 18th Street. Scheduling a public hearing for July the 8th to receive comments on the South Side Neighborhood Improvement Authority proposed development plan and tax increment financing plan pursuant to and in accordance with the provisions of Act 57 of the Public Acts of the State of Michigan of 2018 as amended. We will go then to City Manager number 1, if the clerk would please read it.
Accepting the sole source quote from Carrier and Gable, Inc. in the amount of $63,970.50 for specific computer hardware and software, which includes a controller, router, and cell modem for traffic control upgrades.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Councilmember Ashford, supported by Councilmember Pemberton. Mr. Freed, did you have anything to
Yeah.
add to that?
Madam Mayor and Council, you have your memo in front of you, but the last software that was installed was in 2003, so you have about 21 years old. It's approaching its end-of-year life cycle, so this is to replace all the signalization software for 16 signals throughout our major and local streets, and it will be paid for out of the Streets Fund. It was a budgeted item. It was budgeted at $62,000. It came in at $63,000, so pretty much spot on.
Any questions for Mr. Freed?
Yes.
Yes, Councilmember Ashford.
Yeah, does this intake, this is the whole system, does it do anything with the people crossing? Is that configured into that?
Yes, yes, and this will also make us compatible with what the Road Commission and MDOT are using as well. So for servicing aspects, it'll be easier.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because we've been getting a lot of complaints about people start across the street and all of a sudden it changes from walk to, it changes and they're not completely across the street. So
I am not aware of those complaints.
I'm telling you now.
Okay. Yeah, we have
You
not,
know,
I'm
okay.
not aware of those.
So it's, on Quay Street in downtown somewhere, the guy was trying to go through and we were sitting there and it changed lights.
Those would be MDOT signals, not local street signals. This would not be a part of that. Those are
Okay, so,
MDOT's.
so where is this just covering?
These are all of our signals. We have 16 across the city.
Okay, but it still entails all of that. It will
Not,
affect that?
not the
Not
one
that
on
one,
Quay
but
or
it
downtown.
will-
On the 16 signals we control, so for instance, Gratiot and Garfield.
Oh, okay.
Things like that.
I got it, yeah, the state highway
that would be a
going
part of it.
through.
Yep.
Oh, okay. So what should they do? Because I did tell them to,
Call and let us know. This is the first we're hearing about it.
okay, to call and let you know?
Yeah, anyone in City Hall, we'll call and take those complaints from through the channels.
So what you gonna do about it? You just say that you're responsible?
Well, I'm gonna talk with engineering once I
Okay.
find out, but yeah,
Oh,
this is the
okay.
first I've heard of it.
Okay.
We have not received any type of complaint like that
They
internally.
didn't, okay, I had told them that, so, okay, I'll pass it on.
Any other questions or comments about this? We will take the vote.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Councilmember Hamza?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mojrak?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes, under resolutions, number 1, please.
Authorizing 19 payments.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Mayor Pro Tem Archibald, supported by Councilmember Pemberton. Does anyone have any questions on any of the payments? We will take the vote.
Councilmember Hamza?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mojrak?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. Ordinances, the first one, please.
First reading, an ordinance to amend Chapter 16, Community Development, Article 5, Southside Neighborhood Improvement Authority of the Port Huron Code of Ordinances for the purpose of adding Section 16-617, Establishment of Development Plan and Tax Increment Financing Plan.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Councilmember Mojrak, supported by Councilmember Lamb. I know we have Nate Ginzer here
Yeah.
tonight.
Madam Mayor and Council, as Nate makes his way up to the podium, I just want to take a quick moment to thank Nate and his team at Devil Hall Solutions. This is 2 years in the making, Nate, I believe?
We first got involved fall of 2022.
So, yeah, just over 2 years. I also want to thank Christopher Falks from Lake Huron. I want to thank Joe Bixler, the co-chair, Stephanie Cooper, Mary Williams, David Haynes, which is the mayor's designee, Leslie Bailey Leonard, and Mark Watson, which makes up the NIA board. They have spent countless hours in neighborhood meetings, neighborhood engagement sessions, and planning meetings. A lot of work that the public doesn't see, that doesn't make the newspaper, but they spent countless nights to bring us to this point. So as we get this document bundled together and prepared very nicely for us, I just want to make sure that those folks in the community know just how much we appreciate their hard work, and as well for Nate as well.
Yes, thank you, Mayor and Council. Very pleased to be here tonight to move this process forward. A little sad too, because Thursday will be my last meeting with the NIA board, presumably I should say. So what I would like to do is just take a couple minutes, walk you through what's before you, what you can expect to happen next. One thing I did just want to note, there are a couple board members here. James listed off the whole board. Mary Williams, one of our other co-chairs, Stephanie's here. And I think Owen David, obviously. So as James said, again, thank you to all those folks for putting all the time and effort in. You know, I appreciate council's patience with us. It's taken us a little longer to get to this point than I think we had originally anticipated. We went through a very robust process to pull this plan together. But we feel good about all that extra time and effort that went into this. One thing we can feel very confident about is the neighborhood's fingerprints are all over this plan. This plan, when you asked us to help you, you told us this neighborhood was important to you. You told us, and they also told us that this was an ongoing conversation that had been going on since really the early 2000s. And you'll see themes from the early 2000s are still in this plan today. But now, if this process proceeds and it's adopted, there will be tools available to move some of those longstanding themes forward. With that being said, the plan before you, I still want to emphasize it is a draft. This is, what you've done tonight is the first reading. It has to be approved by an ordinance. There is time, if there are comments or concerns that you all want to raise through this as you review it, you can send them to me directly, but probably more appropriately, they should go through James to make sure we incorporate all that. We have one more board meeting on Thursday at the Reinvestment Center where we will be updating the board on where we're at. There shouldn't be really, like I said though, any real surprises as you go through this. When you go through that development plan, you're gonna see themes that are consistent from back in 2000. And what we've tried to do is build in enough flexibility so that you were able to very clearly see what the board's intent is on what they wanna work on, the priority areas that they have, the development areas that have been identified and prioritized, the capital infrastructure that they're hoping to have focused on, without getting so specific into very detailed projects. The challenge with that is, as you'll see with the TIF plan, we're looking like they're gonna have relatively few resources. And when you think about this is over a 30-year period of time, right? So even if we're talking about a potential capture of 2.5 million, spread that over 30 years, it's not much. So we're trying not to get so specific that we get lost in projects that really have to have all the planets aligned for them to really happen. So we try to keep it broad enough so there's some flexibility. As far as the TIF plan itself, you'll see in there the estimates that we use were put together based on a 2.5% annual increase. We came to that based on primarily two factors. When you look at the city's average growth in taxable value over the last 10 years, it's just shy of 2%. We bumped that a little bit, assuming that there's gonna be additional redevelopment focus in here, so hopefully we can see that trend be a little bit bolstered over that 30-year period of time. With that being said, again, we will be, once this whole plan is adopted, we're gonna package this into a very nice document that you can have and utilize over the coming term. So even what you see here, we'll clean it up more for your public hearing. We'll start getting the appendices in, but that still won't be the final product. We're gonna get it all put together real nice for you, get copies to the NIA board, get a couple copies for the city. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Does anyone have any questions for Nate?
Mayor Rep.
Yes, Councilmember Ashford.
Yeah, so thank you for all that you've done. You guys did a good job, you and your board. So what you're saying is that we got the frame, that this is what this is, and the flexibility comes when you start populating that in with the details.
Correct. So one of the next steps that the board will be talking about, as you may know, I gotta make sure she's been married now, so gotta get her last name right, but Cynthia Broomfield has been assigned the NIA board. She'll be taking more of a lead role on Thursday's meeting, and she's gonna start talking with the board about annual work planning and starting to look at that first 5 years. So that process is all gonna start. Think of this as the top of the funnel, is what this plan's all about. Cynthia and the city will be working with the NIA board to start working all these ideas into annual funnels to work towards that bigger picture.
Oh, okay, I understand.
I would just say, just so everybody understands it, because normally ordinances come up for their first reading and then 2 weeks later they go for their final. In this particular case, the ordinance will not come back before us for the final reading until the public hearing, correct?
Yes, they're going in sync.
Yeah. Because that's not the normal, yeah, I just want to make sure.
Sorry if I threw you guys off base there, but.
I just want to bring that up for the public, that we will not be dealing with it at the next meeting, but rather July when we have.
And I should say too, as you all go through this, there's obviously no guarantee what's gonna happen during that public hearing. If you all feel that there's more work that needs to be done, just let us know and we'll get it right. That's the least we can do for this neighborhood down there. It's been working on this so hard.
Well, you and the board, the entire board have done a great job. I know you've worked hard. I've been at a couple meetings and it's heartwarming to see all the people that have showed up and all their participation, so thank you very much, all of you.
It's been absolutely our pleasure. It's one of the coolest projects I've been involved with in 20 years, so thank
Oh,
you.
great.
Madam Mayor and Council, as Nate had mentioned, I have handed off the administrative role for the board, to have an administrator assigned to them. Whether it's the DDA or any of our 13 TIFs, we assign a city staff person to handle the day-to-day administration of their work. Because this was so important, I did assign my chief of staff, Cynthia, to be the day-to-day administrator. We've talked about the funnel of causality. Now that we have this development plan, it will become into execution, which this is, again, a 25-year plan of development. And so this will take the next heavy lift will be executing. And so for the people in that neighborhood, it's nice to have a plan, but if you don't have execution to follow behind it, then it's worth the paper it's printed on. And so the next couple of years, the follow-through with the execution is going to be key to fulfilling the promises we've made in this document to that neighborhood. And we intend to fulfill those promises.
Can I make one more comment,
Yep.
City Manager, for you? One thing that I think council can rest assured is a lot of times you'll get boards and commissions and you're not, it's hard being a volunteer, right? You've got all kinds of other priorities that take up your time. It's hard to put all the energy in. I can tell you, you're not gonna have that with this board. This board is ready to work. And I'm excited to watch from the sidelines. So again, thank you for the time tonight.
Thank you, Nate.
Real quick as well, just finally, I just want to say as the board, watching the board work, I've known Mary Williams for 10 years now. We've been doing this 10 years. And to see Mary rise up in that role as co-chair and lead that board, you would have thought she had 20 years as a legislator under her belt. I mean, she has handled those meetings just wonderfully, working with Joe as well. And so it's kind of amazing to see people in your community who don't normally have a voice or a seat at the table, when they're given a voice and a seat at the table, just to see just how much excellence they can rise to and what they can accomplish. And I've just been super impressed by Mary Williams. Thank you for your leadership. It's amazing.
Thank you. We will take the vote.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosrak?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Councilmember Hamza?
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. Item 2 under ordinances.
First reading, an ordinance to amend Chapter 52 zoning, Article 3, District Regulations, Division 8, C1, General Business District, and Division 9, CBD, Central Business District of the Port Huron Code of Ordinance to allow residential in the C1 district and first floor residential in the CBD district.
Is there a motion?
So move.
Councilmember Ashford, supported by Councilmember Pemberton.
Mayor and council will have David Haynes come down to explain this.
Good evening, Mayor, Rep. and Council. What you have before you is some changes that actually also in discussion with City Manager Freed. That we recognize that there were some shortcomings in our current zoning language, in particular that did not allow residential uses in a C1 zone and within the CBD zone within the first floor. As probably many of you can recognize, along Pine Groves, there are some older office buildings that have second floors, much like the downtown with the lofts. Well, with the current zoning in a C1 zone, it doesn't allow for residential on those second and third floors. So we thought that was a gap that needed to be filled. And then for the downtown, we have opportunities in which we can have residential come in. Residential is now a key component in housing, in particular in the older buildings that we see in our downtown for alternate uses. But with our current zoning language, it wouldn't allow that to occur. So what we're seeing now is a shift in the market, not as strong as it used to be for office space. We're seeing more in the demand for housing, and the ordinance language is tailored in order to encourage the reuse of the buildings that otherwise would remain vacant.
Madam Mayor and Council, when we address the housing shortage, you have to look at two things, two important things. One, how do you add more housing stock? And then two, look at our zoning and have we helped create some of the housing shortage? You know, is our zoning language maybe not fit the time and the era we're in? And so we're constantly reviewing our zoning language. This is one of those steps to, whether the Harrington's rebuilt, or Fog Cutter gets redeveloped, or the AT&T building gets developed. These are all buildings that could have first floor housing to allow us to bring more stock on along our corridors that still fits in with the neighborhood, makes sense. And so we don't want to create an artificial crisis, raising housing costs already more than they are by antiquated zoning. So I applaud David for taking these measures. And these things are happening, quite frankly, all across the state and country, to take an inward look at our policies and zoning to make sure that we're not part of the problem.
Any questions?
No, I just have a comment. That makes sense. I mean, that was yesterday, the way you did it yesterday, you can't do it today. But while this is probably mostly to apartment buildings and everything, and I know we got a game plan for our neighborhoods too, right? Okay, thank you.
Any other comments? I think it'll be a good thing. Thank you, David. We will take the vote.
Councilmember Mosrek?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Councilmember Hamza?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Mayor Rupp?
Yes, that concludes our regular agenda. Under announcements, we do have on here, city offices will be closed June 19th in observance of Juneteenth. Now, that's a new federally recognized holiday that's recognized locally as well, and it's also the oldest known celebration commemorating the end of slavery in the United States. So I did want to bring that up, that the offices will be closed that date, as I'm sure most state and federal offices will be closed that same date. We have Flag Day on Friday, so I want to observe that. And is there anything else to come before the council?
Yeah, Mayor Rupp, I just, my iPad it stopped in May, and people were probably been emailing me or whatever. It won't allow me to receive any messages or anything. I don't know what happened, but it happened. And this is kind of like the second time. The first time I brought the iPad down, Kelsey was gracious enough to call someone from IT to fix it. But it happened again, and nothing comes through, and there's no communication. So I've been calling people that are really, everybody's important to me, but some people that I had to call to use my personal one. So I'm just saying this, for anybody out there that tried to reach me. I know someone got me on the phone yesterday, and somebody caught me in the store today. So, but anyway, I just wanted to know that if I'm not answering you, it's just because I don't have any contact.
Have you brought your iPad in? You don't have a regular computer?
I beg your pardon?
You don't have a regular computer?
Yeah, I have several computers.
Well, your email address goes on every computer, not just your
No,
iPad.
it doesn't. This is just the iPad, the one that comes through that.
But your email address, what I'm saying is you
I
can
just
retrieve it
get
on
it
your
for
regular
that
computer.
one, but not for porthuron.org. That's what I'm saying, it's it's not.
You can log onto the web-based and check your mail.
I don't use my iPad
didn't.
for email, I use my home computer.
Well, I was using that one, and it just stopped, period. It wouldn't allow me to use it at all.
Several weeks ago, a password update notification when you
Yes,
have to
there
update your
was.
password. That's all you have to do is update your password. If you bring it in, we'll have Bruce help you. He can help you tonight, update your password.
Okay, yeah, he helped me before.
Those kind of things, just let us know
Yeah,
about, and we'll get
yeah.
them fixed
I
that
did,
moment.
that's why I brought it down here, and I just couldn't think of where it was, and I had over 400 the first time that I had to go through and answer stuff.
Madam Mayor and Council, I just want to point out as well, for Juneteenth, the city staff, several dozen of our city staffers will be doing days of volunteerism. They'll be working with community groups. We've encouraged the staff, this isn't just like a vacation day. This is a time for service to the community. And so you will see city staff and groups of city staff at different nonprofits and local charities volunteering for that day in the spirit of Juneteenth.
Thank you. Anyone else have anything?
Mayor, it might be important just to note that the reminder that Huron Ave from the bridge to Glenwood
Yes.
will be closed tomorrow, I believe, starting at 11 o'clock for the Back
Back
Roads
to the
Tour
bricks.
Car Show, so.
Yeah.
I think the
That is tomorrow
NACP,
evening.
yeah, I'm sorry. I think the NACP has something at SC4 for Juneteenth. Yeah, they have a event.
They used to have an event at the museum, and I did check with them today, and they said they were not having one, so I did not know who was having one, because I've heard nothing about it.
I think it's the NAACP is having it at C4, or either the DEI. In collaboration.
Several other organizations
Mhm.
have been doing an event at the college,
Oh, okay, thank you.
as well as on the 15th, will be a neighborhood event at the reinvestment center.
Thank you.
One last thing, Madam Mayor. On Wednesday, we are expecting another a job action from the Canadian Customs. And so for the chaos that ensued, was that Friday?
Friday, I think it
Friday.
was.
We anticipate more chaos around the Bridge Plaza on Wednesday. It'll probably start mid-morning. So I would avoid Pine Grove around the Blue Water Bridge Plaza for pretty much the entire day.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Our meeting is adjourned.